quick video today before I go to bed. I'm back home, and so yeah. Well, I have a beach here as well, so you'll see more of beaches, perhaps some forests as well. Alright, and no, I don't live in the jungle. Alright, so alright, so before I go to sleep, let's speak a little bit of airplane dopamine addiction and how to avoid dopamine addiction when traveling by plane or train and so forth. And so I noticed a couple of interesting stuff today. So, for example, the guy to the left of me, he was incredibly stressed out. You could truly see he was truly stressed out. And so yeah, that guy, he was on his phone almost all the time, and then switching between. I noticed he was reading actually. He was actually reading for once as well, but he was going back and forth from his book and his cell phone all the time. But alright, so he couldn't drop the phone thing. So he just went back and forth, and as soon as we were able to turn off flight mode, immediately I noticed he went on to WhatsApp and chatting and stuff like that. Now, of course, I understand you gotta contact your family and so forth. Now, obviously, I can accept that, but he was incredibly stressed out. At first I thought perhaps he wanted to go to the bathroom or something, but he was like this from the very beginning, so it couldn't have been that. And also, why didn't he go to the toilet? So it couldn't have been that. So yeah, but at least he read, I noticed he read Grapes of Wrath, so a classic. But alright, kudos for that. But so yeah, that's one thing obviously that you should do. You should obviously read. I mean, I was reading for 3 hours. I was reading Nietzsche's Ecce Homo. So yeah, I'm almost finished Ecce Homo. So I've basically read all his important work. Alright, so and he's one of my favorite authors. So I highly recommend reading one of his stuff. It's easy to read. It's so easy to read. It doesn't have to be. It's not boring philosophy. It's even if you don't like intellectual stuff and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure you would like Nietzsche. But everyone can't love the same things. So read not whatever. I mean, you should read stuff that makes the brain think, and that's what it does with Nietzsche. He's very subtle, and I'm trying to work it all together, like his whole philosophy. It's amazing, and it's incredibly subtle. You gotta, it's not for the simple-minded. You gotta truly deep. It's very deep and beyond, So, all right. So, what you can do, but what I noticed. I mean, I was on social mode. I was ready to talk to people. But the girl to the right of me, she seemed, either depressed or I mean, or had problems flying or something like that. You know, she tilted her head on towards the seat before us, and so yeah. Uh, so yeah. I don't know what was wrong with her, but something was completely off there. All right, so you noticed interesting stuff. I noticed some business-like people as well. At least they were actually socializing and stuff like that. So that was good. Otherwise, all right. Work. You can obviously work on the up in the air, so to speak. So yeah, that's such an obvious thing to do instead of social media or playing games or just ignoring your own thoughts. I mean, instead of, all right, so here's another thing you can do. Instead of reading and, the obvious stuff, reading the menu, and once you've read the whole menu, once you've read your book, and so forth, and obviously, and if no one wants to chat with you, like in my case, obviously the stressed out guy, he gave me clear signals that he didn't want to chat. So fine, let's not chat. I don't care. All right, so I was reading Nietzsche, so I'm fine. I'm in great company. Nietzsche is a wonderful company. All right, so especially if you like his stuff, obviously. Otherwise, you most people, like some people, criticize Nietzsche without even giving him a thorough try, and they don't understand it because, well, he's something special. All right, so if you don't socialize, like the guy, you didn't want to socialize, fine. All right, so not everyone wants to socialize, and perhaps some people want to work, but obviously in this case it wasn't work. He went back and forth with his phone and his book and so forth, and couldn't concentrate on reading or anything like that. Perhaps I should have tried to speak to him, but he can open his mouth. He's an adult as well. I'm not here to babysit every person, All right, so, or teach every single person. Everyone has to open up for that, I can't open people in that sense. I can only awaken if they want to be awakened, so to speak, within. I can only guide and help. I can't act for someone. All right. Which might be obvious, but I don't think it's that obvious for a lot of people. They believe other people can guide you, like almost like a blacksmith with his apprentice or something like that. And even then, the apprentice, he has to take and create the sword, or the weapon, or whatever it is. It can be candles or anything, but so the apprentice still has to take action, So, but in any case, so if there is no socialization and so forth, now you can work or you read something, but what you can also do is to simply sit there and think. You can sit there on the plane or on the train and think. All right, you think of either your work or some problem or stuff you're working on yourself, and you think of you try to define the problem, and and concretely define the problem. Like, think of the problem. What truly is the problem? Ask yourself these questions. What's the problem here? What's the psychological problem here? Perhaps even what's the deeper issue here, if you want to go there, or if you need to go there. I mean, if it's work, you most likely don't have to go too deep, but it depends on what your work is. So I speak in general terms here because I have to. But if you have any questions, you can always ask them down below, and I will answer them. All right. So you simply sit there and think. Instead of listening to some bullshit music or some even more nonsensical podcast, like for the billionth time, which you probably heard these their voices and these selves, so to speak, many times. You probably know them inside and out. And so yeah, I'm gonna borrow this from Nietzsche. Because this is a thought I also had, and I read it today as well, but I've had it before, but it's so similar. It's incredible. So for when it says when you read, you're basically reading other selves. So it's the same today. Like when you listen to podcasts, you always avoid yourself. That's what I always speak of. You always avoid yourself. But when you work out and you listen to a podcast or music or something, then you block out your own thoughts, you block out your own awareness, and you won't learn, and you won't get closer to your instincts, and so forth. So you always ignore yourself. You won't progress. It won't feel as satisfying in the long run. All right. Yes, it will feel. You will feel the dopamine effect. Then and there, but in the long run, it's not going to be good for you. So you gotta stop all these billion podcasts. All right. So yeah, on the plane, just sit there, think of a problem, and then find the solution for it. And you'll find it through, you search for it. So you define it, you define the problem, and then search for all the patterns you can think of the solution. Whatever that is. It can be many things. All right. So yeah, those are some observations I did today on the plane. And what else? Yeah, that's basically it. All right, so today's video will be a bit shorter. I'm tired. I need to go to sleep. But we'll see you tomorrow. I'm posting videos every day. That's my goal right now. The same way I used to have some exercise goals that were training every day. I didn't think of any rest days. So the same with this stuff. I'm gonna do this every day, and no matter what, perfect or not perfect, doesn't matter. I have a billion things to talk about. If you have any specific questions, anything you want to ask me, anything that's beyond dopamine addiction and dopamine fasting, or if it is dopamine addiction, dopamine fasting, you can ask them down below. All right, so if you have any problems with this, you can book a session. The email is down below and in the About page. If you have any problems with time management, organization, and stuff like that, dopamine addiction, how to dopamine fast, as well as how to live minimally and so forth. All right, so my course is also in the works. As always, I will get to it more properly right now and finish it. It's almost finished. All right, so that's coming soon. Okay. See you tomorrow, guys.